kind. I have gone out, a possessed witch, haunting the black air, braver at night, dreaming evil. I have done my hitch over the plain houses, light by light, lonely thing, 12-fingered, out of mind. A woman like that is not a woman quite. I have been her kind.
When she committed suicide in 1974 at the age of 45, Anne Sexton was one of America's most famous poets. Her passionate and extraordinarily personal poetry about madness, sexuality and death had brought her academic acclaim, public notoriety, and a place in the canon of the emerging feminist movement. Coming of age in post-war America, Sexton, like many women of her generation, saw marriage and children as her primary ambition. But the reality of suburban life and the stress of two small daughters proved too much for her, and at the age of 28 she went into therapy after suffering the first of what were to be many mental breakdowns. It was while in therapy that she started to write poetry, initially at the suggestion of her therapist. It was to prove her lifeline. In an age where poets like Lowell and Snodgrass were making confessional poetry respectable, even acclaimed, Sexton's poetic confessions were riveting. Her breakdowns, her relationship with her family, her numerous affairs, and her obsession with suicide all went into print. Her work won her a host of awards, including the Pulitzer, and her performance of it made her a star.
I have found the warm caves in the woods, filled them with skillets, carving, shelves, closets, silks, innumerable goods. Fixed the suppers for the worms and the elves, whining, rearranging the disaligned. A woman like that is misunderstood. I have been her kind. I have ridden in your cart, driver, waved my nude arms at villages going by, learning the last bright roots, survivor where your flames still bite my thigh, and my ribs crack where your wheels wind. A woman like that is not ashamed to die. I have been her kind.
Given her confessional style, it might seem unlikely that any account of her life could shock any more than she herself had set out to do. But Diane Wood Middlebrook's biography has done just that. The reason? She has used and quoted from some 300 taped therapy sessions between Anne Sexton and her therapist Dr. Martin Orne, thus transgressing one of the fundamental rules of the psychoanalytic profession. Yet the inclusion of this material was not only approved by Sexton's literary executor, her own daughter Linda, but defended by the therapist himself in a foreword to the book.
Although I had many misgivings about discussing any aspects of the therapy, which extended over 8 years, I also realized that Anne herself would have wanted to share this process, much as she did in her poetry, so that other patients and therapists might learn from it.
But for many, the use of the tapes is totally unacceptable, both within the psychoanalytic profession.
A patient's right to confidentiality survives death. Only the patient can give that release. What the family wants does not matter a whit.
And for some parts of the Sexton family itself.
These tapes have given Diane Middlebrook, let's say, ammunition. They've given her the ammunition to paint a picture of Anne's family strictly from Anne's viewpoint. And you can't do that, particularly with somebody of Anne's fantastic imagination, incredible ability to tell stories, and incredible ability to lie. She just made things up.
To thrust all that life under your tongue, that all by itself becomes a passion. Death's a sad bone, bruised, you'd say. And yet she waits for me, year after year, to so delicately undo an old wound, to empty my breath from its bad prison. Balance there, suicide sometimes meet, raging at the fruit, a pumped-up moon, leaving the bread they mistook for a kiss, leaving the page of the book carelessly open, something unsaid, the phone off the hook, and the love, whatever it was,
And